Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and my wife and I have decided that the new Land Cruiser is the vehicle that is on the chopping block that we will replace with another vehicle. I'm going to explain our reasoning in today's video. Let's get right into it. Now, I figured the best way to explain our reasoning is to actually talk about the things that I like about this more than our 200 series Land Cruiser that we are keeping, and so let's get right into the points. Now, the first thing that I like about this more than the 200 series is the overall style. I love the circular headlights. I love this boxy design. Now, I do really like the look of the 200 series, but I think we can all agree that this new 250 is really cool looking. The second thing is the ability to fit larger tires. So I have the same offset on my 200 series as we have on the 250 here, plus 25 offset, which is more aggressive than stock. Gives you kind of this nice, not like Brodozer poke, but you know, comes out a little bit. Now on this, I'm able to very comfortably fit 33s with a little bit of space. On the 200 series, with the plus 25 offset, I'm barely able to fit 32.5s, and if I want to do anything bigger than that, I would have to do some sort of lift or go to a more positive offset. Now, the third thing that I like more is the off-road stuff. So rock rails from the factory, roof rack from the factory. I like the fact that you can get stuff from the factory. I prefer to have factory stuff rather than aftermarket, because aftermarket a lot of times ends up being more expensive, right? Economics of scale. And then the other part of it is sometimes it just doesn't fit quite as well. This factory stuff, pretty darn solid. Now, the fourth thing that I actually like more than the 200 series is certain interior materials. I actually like this more than the trim the 200 series has on the top of the door panel and then on the dash. This kind of has this like rubberized material here, and then you can see here it's got kind of like a rawhide type texture. I don't know, I just think they did a really good job with some of the trim pieces. And I guess while we're on materials, I really do like the seats in the new Land Cruiser. They're actually more comfortable than the 200 series, so that's kind of like another plus with the 250. Now this leads us to number 5, which is actually the center console. So cool box with this. My 200 series is a Heritage Edition 2020. Doesn't have a cool box. It's kind of a cool feature, but more so than that, the center console in the new 250 is way more solid feeling than the 200 series. Like the 200 series can kind of like a little bit of movement. This is just solid. So they did a better job with the center console, I think. And this is point number 6, which is the fact that this has a rear locking differential from the factory. And I guess we'll just have number 6 be the off-road stuff. Really like that. 200 series, you've got to add air lockers. And then the new multi-terrain select system, and then the new crawl control is a lot better than the previous system. And so I have liked that with this as well. And then I do like some of the tech that this has. The cruise control system has been pretty fun to use. The heads-up display, always a nice thing. The camera system, the resolution and all of that's really solid. Camera rear view mirror. So some of the new tech, don't mind it. Like it, actually. Now I'm going to quickly go over why all of the things that I like about this more than the 200 series are not that important. So when it comes to looks, this looks great. We have a Grenadier though, and I think the Grenadier looks better than both of them. So I've got a cool car to look at. With the tires on this, a really solid thing with the 200 series is it's got enough clearance for a lot of the off-roading that we do. It's got enough tires, so although this can fit bigger tires, it's not a necessity. There's tons of aftermarket support for the 200 series, so getting stuff like this and the roof rack and all that is very easy. Although I do like some of these touch points and everything, the 200 series is nice enough. The seats in the 200 series are comfortable enough as well. And then with the whole center console situation, I don't really care all that much, but it is nice to have a cool box. And then with all of this new off-road tech, again, the 200 series is capable enough. And if we need something that has locking differentials, we still have the Grenadier that has 3 locking differentials to get us through that stuff. And then all of this fancy tech, again, it's nice to have, but for me, it's definitely not a necessity. So now let's get into the juicier part of the video where we go over the things that we don't really like about the new 250 that led us to lean more towards keeping the 200 and then also keeping the Grenadier. Now the first thing here is just going to be how cheap the new Land Cruiser looks and feels. Tons of exposed plastic throughout, which cheapens the overall look. They should have just done either painted all over the bottom or gone for, you know, a metal bumper like a lot of other off-roaders have. And then, I mean, just how cheap it feels. Like the door is the most hollow sounding thing on the planet. My wife doesn't care about this as much as I do, but for how expensive these new Land Cruisers are, they could have done a much better job with some of the materials and then just, again, the cheapness. Now, I'm not going to spend much time here because I've already mentioned this in other videos, but the cargo area with the raised battery, that was a big deciding factor for us. And then just the overall interior dimensions, although this is the same length as the 200 series, it feels significantly smaller inside compared to the 200 series. And then the thing that I would say is the most disappointing out of everything is going to be the fuel economy. Again, barely 2 miles per gallon better than the 200 series. This is a turbo 4-cylinder hybrid. 200 series has a V8 that can go 1,000,000 miles. I mean, I'm always going to go Team V8 out of those two choices. Now, before we get to the summary of this video, I get a comment all the time when I make videos like this of people saying, well, didn't you know about these before you bought the car? And the answer is 99% of the things I did know about them before I purchased the car. Half the cars I've purchased, I wouldn't have purchased if I didn't do this YouTube stuff. This car, like 90% of the reason why I purchased it is because Toyota content is really hot, and this is one of the newest, hottest Toyotas on the market, and so that was a big reason why I bought it. Now, I think that my wife's thoughts on the new 250 are a really good way to describe where this 250 sits. She likes this about as much as she liked the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro that we had. Again, that was a 5th gen 4Runner. There are things that she didn't like about that car, just like there are things that she doesn't like about this car. Like with the 4Runner, she loved pretty much everything about the drive except the acceleration, liked the interior, but felt like it was a little bit too cramped. And this is similar. She actually loves the acceleration in this, but doesn't like the suspension feel and the steering and everything in it. And then again, the interior feels just a little bit too cramped. The 200 series, big interior, great power, comfortable ride. Like there's nothing bad that she can say about it other than the fact that our 200 doesn't have a third row, which is something that she needs and is what has started this whole situation. We don't own a single vehicle with a third row. And finally, the Ineos Grenadier. We have to talk about this. So that was the other vehicle we were considering getting rid of. Really, it was compared between the Ineos and the 250. And here's what it came down to. The 250, better content car, right? There's a bigger audience for Toyota content versus Ineos content. Ineos is an unknown manufacturer. Toyota sells like 10 million plus cars worldwide. There's a lot of people that want to watch Toyota content. A few things here. I film with 3 Toyota dealers currently, and Toyota is one of the manufacturers that sends cars out to Utah on a regular basis for demo testing. And the reason they can do that is first off, they value the Utah market, unlike a lot of other manufacturers. And then on top of valuing the Utah market, Toyota just has deep pockets, right? They're a big manufacturer, so they have the money to send cars out here. It costs a manufacturer about, I think, $1,500 per vehicle to get it out to Utah for testing. So it's not a cheap endeavor whatsoever. So that's one thing that I was thinking about is I'm going to have a lot of access to Toyota products, so I'll still have a lot of Toyota content even if I don't own this anymore. And then the other part of it is just how soulless this new Land Cruiser is, as bad as that sounds. It's very German. Like, it's so capable. A good comparison with the German brands would be like like a lot of cars from Mercedes, Porsche as well, where they're just like whatever they're attempting to do, they do it so well. Like they're super razor sharp, and that's what this new Land Cruiser is. Like off-road, razor sharp. It's very comfortable. It's just really good at everything that you would use it for, and it's kind of boring because of that. Like it's so capable that it is not all that exciting to drive. It's very German. Again, I would say the 200 series has a soul. The Grenadier kind of has a soul. The 100 series Land Cruiser has a soul. Like Land Cruisers all kind of have souls, and then this is like, I don't know what went wrong, but they got rid of all the soul out of the Land Cruiser. But some of you might like that because it's very capable, it's very comfortable, it's super daily drivable. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this and the new car that we are looking at. I'll give you guys some updates. It will take some time. Like something to note, we're at 6,000 miles on this. By the time we sell this, it'll probably have 10, 15,000 miles on it. So we're not getting rid of it right away because the replacement car, it'll take some time. So I'll see you.